Hi, everybody. Alongside Matty Ward, I'm Chris Cotter. We're dressed like it's spring. It doesn't feel like it's spring out there, though. It is a chilly day today, but lacrosse should be pretty hot. When you think about this lacrosse team with Notre Dame, I mean, I mentioned they're number one in the country. They're the unanimous number one team in the country. They're hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah, I mean, they're on the brink of something special.
And we're going to see a lot of faces. You're going to see a lot of new faces at North Carolina because of injury, and a lot of new faces at Notre Dame because they want to play some depth. One of the new faces you're going to see for Notre Dame, you've seen him a bit, but Colin Hagstrom's going to take a lot more draws today because Will Lynch is out. And that's going to put the onus on this part of the game right here because Brady Waback for North Carolina is one of the best in the country. It's a chance for Kavanaugh. Shoots. Save made by Colin Krieg. Colin Krieg, another veteran on this North Carolina team and one of the team captains. You think about, he's got to be one of the most underrated goalies in the game because he's so solid and strong and consistent, and he faces a lot of rubber.
Yeah, he's had an amazing career, and ultimately maybe doesn't get the credit just because UNC struggled a little bit. But if I'm a PLL team, I'm certainly giving him a look because when he gets hot, he is as good as anybody.
Came out of Stony Brook, played at Ward Melville. Carolina on the attack. Trevor Dubner, that's one of those players we talked about, getting his opportunity now with all the injuries. McGovern, he'll run out of the box a little bit today as well. Graduate student, the transfer from Bryant, played a couple of years at North Carolina.
And if you're North Carolina, a lot of slow, patient offensive sets. If an upset's going to happen, it's going to start with, number one, possession of the ball and maintaining that for the majority of the game. So they need to face off well, limit turnovers, and just be methodical on the offensive end. Kind of like what Georgetown did to Notre Dame early in the year. Played very patient offense, didn't take a lot of shots, and didn't give Notre Dame a ton of options on the offensive end.
Yeah, one of the things Kevin Warren said about that game was an 80-second possession without a goal is not a bad possession. You know, as long as you don't shoot it into the goalie's stick. That's what Bresci said talking to him today. Any shot is great as long as it doesn't end up in the goalie's stick. It ends up with a quick fast break out.
And we have a shot clock right there for North Carolina. We're going to get a delay of game on the Tar Heels.
That's going to be a big mistake early.
Last time I checked, it's a delay of game. Last time I checked, Notre Dame's man up's pretty good.
Every time you checked, that man up is ridiculous. 72% leads the NCAA Division I by far.
And they're just the perfect makeup for a man-up offense. You have the outside shooter in Dobson that just can stretch a defense. You have the Kavanaughs who can both pass, and then you have the marquee interior player for them in the offense. And Jay Taylor, who can just score in any different type of way. Virtually impossible to stop.
Chris Kavanaugh, boy, thought about it instead of skip past the Dobson. Kavanaugh with a little jab step inside. Look at the quick ball movement here.
So patient.
Shot score! Patience pays off.
Devin McClain, the transfer from Brown, their leading scorer out of the midfield. But I don't know how to describe that offensive set other than it was perfect. How patient they were. Right there, a tendency is to maybe take an extra step and force a shot there when you get engaged by a defenseman, but Chris Kavanaugh takes the extra step. McClain backs out to space and gets his hands free. I mean, they took every second of that penalty and didn't take the first shot. They took the right one. It's awesome to watch.
McClain from a big-time lacrosse family. His dad played at Penn, brothers at Duke and Brown. We'll get a violation against Notre Dame. And this is where North Carolina is just going to have to dominate the face-off dot today. Get possession, keep possession away from Notre Dame, take time off the clock, get this into the fourth quarter. Exactly like Georgetown did earlier in the year when Notre Dame suffered their only loss of the year here on this field, an overtime loss to Georgetown first month of the season.
Look, I think you're talking 20+ saves in the cage and 80% of the faceoff X, which are just daunting numbers to think about.
They've got the personnel to possibly do it, though. Scores! So Carolina gets on the board with Harry Welford. Graduate student from St. Louis, Missouri, who played high school at Avon Old Farms in Connecticut. I mean, he's another one of those players, 4 and blue. Like Coach said, he's going to see more time. Will he make the most of his opportunity? Well, he's off to a good start here.
And just a nice job off of ball movement, using his body and his big frame to get his first of the year right here. Just lower the shoulder, and then look at that separation. Doesn't need a lot. But when you get the defenseman backing up and your momentum can end up going towards the cage, you can deceive the goalie.
That time, Wambach too quick on the whistle. Hagstrom will put it in play for the Irish. Breakfast at the Bend, I guess that's what we'll call today. 11:30 start. Chris Cotter, Matt Ward with you in South Bend. All tied up at 1 apiece. That shot goes high. Last touch, though, or the one win to the race to the end line, by the way, was made by North Carolina, rather, so it's going to be a turnover. That was Jordan Faison with the shot. Not playing in the blue and gold game, a spring game just next door.
You could just see his overall speed there. I think he had another gear there. I think he had a little bit more room than he thought, but just so dangerous getting to the middle of the field.
Yeah, this time bad pass, turnover.
North Carolina makes a lot of sloppy turnovers that just the best teams don't make, right? And that's kind of what they're missing. They have talent all over the field, but they just never really put together that crisp game that's necessary to win games in the ACC, to win games in the top 10.
And this game is going to have to be as crisp as you can get it to come away with the upset here.
But it's a nice opportunity for Coach Bresci and his staff to take a look at new players, you know, who can make an impact. How do we get to the next level next year to get back into the national conversation?
Second midfield line for the Irish. That's Riley Gray. Saw Max Busen kill 23 with the ball in his cross. Will Angrick also on this group. 10 right there with the ball. Behind the cage to Kavanaugh. His brother Chris. Gray. Slide comes to Pat, so he has the shorty on him. Tried to get it in front. Eventually picked up by Angrick, who takes the shot. And Krieg was all over it. Another key to this game for North Carolina, that clear, because Notre Dame is relentless on the ride. They get a lot of goals and what we call helter-skelter lacrosse in the middle of the field, cause a turnover, pick up a GB, get a dunk. Tillman on the far side. Nothing doing. Great play by Will Donovan. North Carolina gets it back after Donovan checked the stick right out of Tillman's hands.
Just a perfectly timed back check on Tillman. A helpless feeling when the stick leaves your hand.
Sale. What do you do? And the crowd's going nuts. Carolina got the ball back, though. Shot clock is set all the way to 80. I'm not sure why, but no harm for Notre Dame as they get the turnover. Another unforced error for North Carolina.
And just too early in the shot clock there. There's 58 seconds.
Face on, just like he's returning a punt. 14 in white. Wide receiver on the football team, if you hadn't heard. We've been talking about it all year, but he was the MVP of the Sun Bowl. Usually we have the football team on the berm on the far side, but they're busy today. Faison loses it initially. Now it's on the carpet. Pat Cavanaugh in there. It's usually where he's so good. Frankenheimer, though, comes out of there with it. Big battle for it. Striano wants to get it. It's North Carolina's ball. Toman. He shovels one. That's not going to beat Ensman, though. And this may be a quick outlet.
And North Carolina was offsides there. You just need to keep those possessions. You can't get this up and back game. You catch a break with the refs missing an offsides, and then you take a backhanded shot in transition.
And they initially only had 4 blue shirts back in the hole because they were offside, but it didn't burn them.
Half of their team was over at the substitution box trying to figure out who to get on the field.
Cavanaugh. Back to his brother. Pat. Oh, beats his defender. Scores! Beat him badly.
Something you see in college lacrosse more now than ever before is on-ball picks. And Pat Cavanaugh, with his shiftiness and his ability to utilize that pick, just causes all kind of chaos. And they're just so simple in the finish. Left hand sweeps to the strong part of the field and gets a second for Notre Dame here in the first quarter. What I love about them this year, though, it's their middies. I mean, if you look at Faison and Dobson, who do you long stick, right? Who do you try to remove from that equation, and then they'll just come at you from somewhere else? Because guess what? Devin McClain, the transfer, has more goals than both of them.
They complement each other really well, right? You've got the big lefty hammer in Dobson, you got the slick Canadian in McClain, and you've got Faison, who's just the uber athlete.
Right.
It's like they all play a unique role, and they fit together perfectly. And then also the depth is something as well. They've all, this coaching staff for Notre Dame loves their second team middies, but today we'll see 3 lines roll out there, and they'll be effective.
22 different goal scorers.
Yeah.
Is that good?
That'll work. Somebody has a bad day, somebody's cold shooting, or like we're seeing with North Carolina, somebody gets injured, somebody else is going to step up. Now, who steps up for UNC today?
The part that you say, the part that's so unique about them is the Cavanaughs they never disappear, right? O'Neal's had games from Duke where he hasn't been on the score sheet.
Right.
Schellenberger from Virginia has had games where he hasn't made a huge impact. They always do.
Yeah.
They just can't be taken out of a game. They can't be schemed away.
Even when they're injured, as we saw in the championship weekend last year, they still come to play. Shot by Petramala's wide. That's Dom Petramala, son of assistant coach Dave Petramala. Step down. That hit a defender in front. That did not feel good. Got a piece of Ben Ramsey. Shot clock, though, winding down, and they have to dump it in the corner.
Their second shot clock violation of the game. Again, though, if I'm Coach Bresci, I prefer that to a shot early on in the possession. They had a good shot. They just, Ramsey got hit. I love that he didn't rub it either. He just shook it off, taking a 100-mile-an-hour shot from 2 feet away.
Price fired the shot. Ramsey, who we had a great conversation with this week.
I mean, there's no chance, Cotter, you're not on the ground crying if you take this right
Weeping.
there. I mean, right in the back, just in
right
the square.
Small of the back. Yeah.
The bench press can't keep that off,
No, those muscles aren't back there. That would need to be rubbed out. Ramsey getting his degree in finance. Hoping to have a future in the PLL. Will certainly get a chance. Angrick, that shot couldn't get anything on it. Stays with the Irish, though, as Cavanaugh backs it up. You hear this North Carolina bench. They're fired up about the defense they're seeing. I mean, we showed you all those categories for Notre Dame, leading the NCAA in so many different ways. And this North Carolina team's come to play here in this first quarter. Cavanaugh. One of those 2 goals is man up for Notre Dame. Gray. Look at the size of 17. Rangy. Shoots with the left. It's wide. Race for the ball before it gets to the sideline. And it stays with Notre Dame. Coach Bresci can't believe it.
4 seconds on the shot clock.
Let's see what Kavanaugh can do here. Tries a tough angle shot. It's a violation. Hits the outside of the cage. Doesn't count to restart the shot clock. I think North Carolina coaching staff wanted a quicker restart there. Didn't get it.
I think they thought Krieg saved it, and they wanted the play to keep going with no whistle to make the clear easier versus give this Notre Dame team a chance to set up their ride.
Carolina down just one goal here early. Welford forward with the ball in his cross, scored that goal for the Heels. And another unforced error. That's the second time Welford's thrown it away.
Just simple adjacent passes. Those shouldn't look difficult. And at times, too often, unfortunately, for the Tar Heels, that's the case.
Fourth turnover of the game for North Carolina. It just can't happen if you're going to pull the upset today.
And there's a difference in turnovers, right? There's turnovers that, hey, good defense causes or forces. To initiate the offense, the first pass in the set, can't happen.
Toman all over Kavanaugh. Keep an eye on that matchup. Irish got inside. We're going to get a pusher in the crease. It's going to be one or the other.
He's in the crease.
The official's talking it over. Yes, no push. Went in the crease by his own volition. Seymour.
You hear Coach Petramala.
Our mic is right at Coach Petramala's feet.
And I think he had a point there, right? I think that he was worried or thought it should have been a penalty on Notre Dame for running into the keeper, Krieg. Officials thought that there was actually a push there. I thought it was all stick.
Yeah.
I thought it was a trail check that led to the crease violation, not a push.
Might get some colorful language in the North Carolina bench with that microphone.
Well, because if it's a push, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
Right? Or you're saying you pushed him when he was already in the crease.
Tillman. Tough pass. Petro picked it up, though. McGovern. Working on a shorty. Now he rolls back. Slide comes. Closes the door. Carolina's got to move it quickly here to Matt. Back to his right. Shoots, scores! Nifty move by James Madden. Heels tie it up in the first.
Madden gets his 11th of the season, and right here, look at Conley with the over-the-head check. Actually a good check, but Madden with the strong wrists, able to maintain possession. And what used to be a goal you never saw, becoming more and more popular in college lacrosse, the backhanded low to high shot near side. North Carolina hanging in here.
And Wambach giving him a chance. Petramala that time with the shot. And he scores! Neither Enseman nor myself could find it initially, but it gets by him. That's what Petramala does, that lefty snipe from the wing.
I'm interested to see what happens here. The ball disappeared. Did it go through the net?
Let's see if we can see it in slow-mo. First off, the face-off win by Wambach.
A nice recognition to get to your best outside shooter on the side there. Nope, just off the top bar near side. We'll get a good look here.
Had a little English on it as it dropped. Yeah, bounced between the two pipes and in. Enseman couldn't believe it. He was like, wait a minute. I thought I made that save. But it's North Carolina with the lead here, 3-2. Wambach throws it straight up in the air. Now the battle for the GB. He'll win it initially, but gets rid of it. And it's picked up by Notre Dame. Conlon coming out of there with it. This is the helter-skelter we talk about, Donovan.
And it's interesting for North Carolina, right? This is a team that for the last 5 years has really tried to push tempo. caused chaos on the ride, really tried to speed the game up. Today, that will not work against Notre Dame. They have to slow it down, maybe be more conservative in their ride to not give Notre Dame opportunities in transition, which they've done a good job of thus far.
Chris Kavanaugh fakes it, getting it back to McClain. There's Pat. Looking for a pick. Tolman gets through it. That pass inside. Taylor almost made it work. That looked like an impossible pass. Look at the physicality here with Krieg.
That's the goalie against a D1 football player.
Krieg is in all kinds of trouble, but he gets rid of it.
Good play. Great athleticism for Krieg.
Now it's an advantage, North Carolina. Big shot as the horn sounds to end this first quarter, and all the momentum in Carolina blue right now.
Outside, a couple sloppy turnovers. An impressive first quarter for a new look North Carolina team. They lead 3-2. Notre Dame, can they answer here in the second quarter?
That's the way I see it anyways. Everybody has their opinion and their idea about, I think it should be this player, I think it should be that player. What about you?
Look, if I'm making that draft pick, I'm taking Pat Kavanaugh because I think he's the toughest of the three and never can get taken out of a game where we've seen O'Neal against big matchups, big physical defensemen maybe not have the impact, and Schellenberger kind of similar. But the thing, like in that top 10, Matt Brandow from Yale is not even on the top 10.
Right.
And he's averaging 9 points a game. It's the greatest draft by far, top to bottom, for pro lacrosse.
And first year with teams with their geographic locations as well. It's going to be very interesting on the 7th. Early second quarter, Carolina looking for the upset here in South Bend, up a goal. The ACC's Committee for Racial and Social Justice, in conjunction with its member institutions, have identified April 13th through 21st as ACC Unity Week. Kavanaugh, you see some pictures here on the left. City Lax is a great organization that brings lacrosse to inner city communities, and Eamon McEnany, our colleague, former Notre Dame lacrosse player, a big part of it. So he had the Notre Dame lacrosse team when they were playing Cornell on Long Island last week. Meet up with kids from Eagle Academy, Crown Heights, and Brooklyn. Saw some pictures there on the left. That was a pretty cool moment. And as you've heard, the Kavanaughs will donate $10 themselves for every ground ball they pick up to City Lax, and they pick up a bunch, although they haven't picked up many today.
And so many of those amazing programs popping up all over the country. Out of Chicago, Owls Lacrosse with a very similar vision, making impact beyond words.
Yep, it's pretty cool. The Carcateras with Cardinal Hayes and Bronx Lacrosse. It's great to see the game being introduced to kids who might ordinarily have no idea what it's all about. North Carolina again with a turnover that's it's just going to be too many in the end. You know, I mean, they've done so well in so many areas. They're perfect in clears. Notre Dame had 0 caused turnovers in that first quarter.
But we talked earlier about different turnovers, right? That was early on in possession, but it was a caused turnover. Yep. It was good defense.
The first
it wasn't
one, I think, by Notre Dame.
They've had 5 turnovers. That's their first caused turnover from Notre Dame. So it's about eliminating like just the sloppy ones. People are going to make plays. It's going to happen. And again, especially when you're playing Notre Dame, it's going to happen a lot. But you just have to eliminate kind of those unnecessary, lack of focus type turnovers.
So the Irish with just 2 goals, one of them man up in that first quarter. You're giving this guy an opportunity to use that lefty hammer, and Dobson, and he hits the pipe.
I was watching that play unfold. Like, is North Carolina going to slide at some point?
He's going to let number 8 run right through the middle of the field.
He has too much range to let him get to that part of the field.
Chris Kavanaugh looking to put his shoulder into a defender.
And so far, outside of the one mishap on the pick against Pat Kavanaugh, North Carolina defense one-on-one up to task.
Chris, no angle on the shot, gets it back to Pat. Still plenty of time to shoot for the Irish. 35 seconds. Toma just doing a nice job on Pat Cavanaugh. Now race to the ball, and it's going to stay with Notre Dame.
Just how patient is Notre Dame offensively, though, right? Like, at times it looks like it could get a little chaotic, and they just have the perfect read to, hey, I'm going to take a step back, slow it down, realize we have a 60 to 80-second shot clock. Let's make this defense work, and we know we're going to get a good opportunity.
Dobson again. Goes back to his left. There was the slide that time. Helped out, prevented him from taking the shot. Inside. Face on. Beautifully. Finishes for the Irish.
4 seconds in the shot clock there. But again, this is what I'm talking about. Dobson, the rollback, he had his hands free, right? Under 10 seconds in the shot clock, most people are taking that shot. He was like, you know what? Let's make a couple extra passes and find an even better one. And face on, the freshman gets his 16th of the year. Right, it's that pass to Dobson to Cavanaugh that most people aren't making, right? You have a little bit more time than you think. Right here, perfect offense, patient offense. A defense can only stick with you for so long, especially when they have to slide to a player like Dobson.
I love Dobson on his backside with the double fists in the air. Like, that's exactly how we drew it up.
It is interesting to me why lacrosse, for whatever reason, doesn't really count hockey assists, right? Even more so than maybe hockey. I feel like it's directly reflective of the offensive play.
Keeping the ball moving. Turnover for Notre Dame as they try to get it back to Entenmann. Let's see if Carolina can strike here early. Petramala opts to wait for substitutions instead. Here comes Tillman. Caden Whaling on the field for North Carolina. Here comes McGovern. That bouncer got nothing on it.
Just way too early in the shot clock again for North Carolina.
Donovan found himself on the offensive end. No shot though. Angrick, Busen, Kill, and Riley Gray in for the Fighting Irish. Here's Riley Gray. And they really like what Busen Kill's been able to do for him. 6 goals on 9 shots this year as his playing time has increased significantly over the last month. Pat. Angrick gets it back to him. 23 to shoot, behind the cage. Busenkill finds a cutter. Save made by Krieg. It's not every day that Jake Taylor gets stoned right in front of the doorstep, but he did that time.
Well, Taylor is known for kind of those sidewinder type shots where he brings his hand, his strong hand across his face to create angle. Krieg knew it. Like, that's how talented you are, where the scouting report is.
It's like he read his book.
The one he had in the national championship game against Virginia to tie it last year, usually you're not shooting it from 8 yards out on a twister. Like, you're just not.
Welford rolls back. Masters all over him. McGovern, GLE. Can't get anywhere against his defense.
Move it again. Good opportunity to dodge here.
Egan. Big physical presence. It's the outside of the cage.
And so on that's good offense from North Carolina. But if I'm Dewey Egan, when I cut to my left, I'm starting to cut back up the field.
When you're that big as well, you can shield off the defender.
It protects your stick. You increase angle, and you actually cut off the back check. Versus him keeping in his left hand with 0 angle against the best goalie in the country. But again, I did like that set from North Carolina. A couple nice ball movements. You get Dewey Egan, a former attackman, matched up against a short stick. It's a good time to go.
Cavanaugh Creed goes up to get it. Now he's out of the cage trying to track down the ground ball. And they're going to say he had possession and knocked it out of bounds.
Yeah, I don't think that was a shot that carried it out of bounds. I do think it was Krieg, and he got checked that made it a loose ball.
Dobson forced to his right. That's what North Carolina wants to do. Force him to his right and down the alley. And they come out of there with the loose ball.
Now, it's interesting, right? You think, okay, Dobson's a lefty, right? As North Carolina pushes in transition here.
Still having a hard time with it. Donovan tracks down the ground ball.
Faison. Pretty big check he threw last week against Cornell to get the game winner.
Amazing.
But going back to the Dobson piece, so what North Carolina is doing is they're forcing him right, where he's not as good a shooter. So you think, hey, why are we sliding? Well, it's because he's not as good a passer with his right hand as well. So you're making him have to do what he probably does the least well, which is throw passes with his offhand. And so it's an interesting approach for North Carolina that so far I like. Passing with your offhand on skip passes, I think, is by far the hardest skill set to master.
Shooting on the run is pretty hard, too. Like that. Will Angrick shows Eric Dobson. Hey, I've learned a thing or two from you, number 8. We've seen Dobson do that on countless occasions, and this time it's Will Angrick on the run.
Look just like him, but 25 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
But again, right here, nice job sweeping to the middle of the field. Again, I think North Carolina's okay with him taking that shot, but the placement was perfect. To the far post, blows it by Krieg. Just a good individual effort from Notre Dame there to get the 4-3 lead.
Notre Dame's won the last 3 faceoffs, make it 4. They've taken the lead in that department. That's a little bit of a surprise.
And most of it's coming from the wings.
Yep.
I think Wambach's doing a nice job at the dot. But Notre Dame every year, just on the wings, too much speed. Their ability with the long sticks to pick up loose ground balls, second to none.
They're without Will Lynch. Came into this game 10th in the country in faceoff winning percentage. They're using the duo of Colin Hagstrom and Andrew Greenspan, who they're really high on for this game at the dot. Face on up top. He's looking to dodge. Pass goes too high. Tracked down by Pat Cavanaugh. Here's Chris. Feeds it inside. That's a tough shot by Jake Taylor. Stays with Notre Dame, but just 8 to shoot.
Taylor's hands are remarkable. That pass was down low. He's able to catch it cleanly and get a shot off to maintain possession, right? Because otherwise he was falling to the ground and North Carolina was going to swarm.
Pat. Shot clock violation. Another good defensive set for North Carolina. Striano looking to clear it, and he does. Carolina has really done a good job against Notre Dame's pressure on the ride today. Only one failed clear in the entire game so far for North Carolina. Actually, they're perfect. Check that. So McGovern. Near side of Dugner. Behind him, Matt Reedy. Reedy's playing some attack and some midfield today. That skip pass. McGovern had to like his look, but it was deflected. He'll stay with the heels. Tillman. Still 30 seconds on the shot clock as Tillman swims past his man. Tried to force it inside. McGovern this time scores!
McGovern. There's two ways to go low to high. The traditional kind of elevator shot. The second option, the tried and true sladink. Right here, the loose ball. And look at the bounce on that. Right in front of his feet. The same motion as the elevator shot, but just bounces it near side high with some top spin.
Second year at North Carolina after transferring from Bryant. Because of the injury situation, too, North Carolina's dealing with. He's in an attack all year with Duffy and Petramala, running him out of the box a little bit today, as they'll mix it in with Reedy, and you might even see Ryan Levy, who's a man-up specialist for them often, down at attack, too. Again, if you're just joining us, Owen Duffy, a freshman who's 32 goals, tied for the most ever by a freshman in North Carolina history, out in this game, and he's got a knee brace on and he's in street clothes, so it doesn't look good for him for the rest of the way in terms of the season for North Carolina, a season that hangs right now on the brink as they're trying to get a win that'll get them into the ACC tournament. They'll finish up against Duke at home next week, and if that game comes down to it, the winner goes to the ACC tournament. Man, you know that place is going to be rocking. It'll be North Carolina's Super Bowl. Got an opportunity to knock off number one today, though. That's what they're concentrating on. Toman, nice ground ball. Krieg, this is what Notre Dame does. They're just a nuisance on the ride. Look at Krieg having to get rid of it. But Ty English and the Heels, they've done a good job today. An outstanding job. Perfect. Dealing with that, and they do it once again.
Defensively, North Carolina today buttoned up, you know, handling the one-on-one matchups pretty well, but off-ball defense collapsing on the interior. An impressive display of team defense.
Petramala shoots too high. Price backs him up. Carolina in all kinds of trouble here. Ty English stayed on the field as a D midi. Now he came in as a player with a lot of offensive prowess, so I'm sure that doesn't bother Bresci that much, but he didn't want to see a turnover there. Arlette gets the ball into the offensive end, and Coach Corrigan calls timeout, wants to have a word or two with the officials.
They're playing tough.
Kavanaugh shoots it just wide. Backed up by Bryce Walker. This is that third midfield unit we were talking about with Walker. We'll see Jalen Seymour out there.
In Notre Dame, it's just...
That was trouble.
If I'm them, offensively they do this pretty consistently, is get Pat Kavanaugh in the two-man pick game behind. He is, because he's such a good feeder, it makes it almost impossible to guard him, right? And better than anyone in the country, he takes the extra step, right? So this is the two-man. And now look, Toman's coming from the other side of the cage. He then has the whole backside to attack, right? You can see the advantage is there. It's over. And then he takes that extra step and the creativity, the second backhanded goal that we've seen. Like that, you never used to do that. You used to be coming left, shoot it with your left hand, wrapping around. He went from his left hand to move it to his right for that backhanded low to high shot, pulling it back to the near side.
You could see it coming. As soon as Toman came around the far side of the cage, you knew Carolina was in trouble.
Him and Schellenberger for Virginia do that two-man pick game as well as anybody. I think Kavanaugh may be the best at it, given his creativity as a finisher, maybe a little bit higher than that, I think, of what Schellenberger has at Virginia.
Takes the extra step to greatness.
Look, I think Duke should do that with O'Neal all game as well.
Right.
Like, talk about skill.
Right.
You know, his hands, just keep him near the goal, two-man.
That's what we saw. That's what we would be seeing constantly with Owen Duffy if he were playing today for North Carolina. Welford shoots it high, stays with the heels. Minute 45 left to go in this first half. Madden. Being checked by the freshman Sean Light.
How good has he been?
So good. Another just the latest in a long line of physically imposing Notre Dame close defenseman, number 90 in white.
I mean, he doesn't need a stick to play, right? Like, he's not like the defenseman running around throwing checks. He's such a good athlete.
Petramala, he tried a little twister, but Entenmann was up to the task.
An old school lacrosse guy here, I would have switched. I know he's a predominantly left-handed person and the twister is in vogue, but if he moves that to his right hand, it opens up the entire cage. And he had his hands and he had them open.
That's why it pays to be comfortable.
And you can see here,
both hands.
Yeah, look at, he actually brought his stick back into kind of peril by doing that. If he had kept running to his right hand, maybe it's jealousy because that wasn't part of my repertoire, but.
You never use the twister at all?
No, no. My high school lacrosse coach, Rob Bordley, would throw you out of the game and never let you back on the field.
Picked off. Toman. Nice catch. Striano looking to move quickly, but Bresci on the field to get the timeout. 14 seconds remaining. Carolina putting up a big fight today in South Bend, down just a goal.
Doesn't
That's
end.
the problem. You're like, it's April. Enough already.
My golf season doesn't start till June. It's brutal.
They're killing you. How's pickleball going? Oh, you play paddleball.
I play paddle.
You haven't gotten in on the pickleball craziness. Petramala will shoot. Bouncer. And the horn will sound. That was the formula that Georgetown used in the only loss suffered by Notre Dame this year on this field early in the year. Keep the scoring down, keep the pace down, limit those helter-skelter plays in the middle of the field that come back to haunt you like that one might be, but North Carolina still has possession, but it's not in the books yet. And a ground ball for Chris Kavanaugh in the middle of the field, that, like we've seen so many times, to get possession to Notre Dame to start this second half.
Notre Dame's wings off the face-offs, devastatingly good at creating turnovers and picking up ground balls. You have to be perfect in your execution as Faison has his hands free.
Man, look at that shot. We got a great angle to see that shot and the pace on it. Faison, the freshman from Fort Lauderdale. A lot of Florida players on this Notre Dame team. Faison, you got Carter Parlett, Eric Dobson. Talked to Dobson. He's like, I said, who's the most famous football player from the Jacksonville area? He thinks probably Derrick Henry, maybe. Baseball player, it's Chipper Jones. And I was like, Daughter, you've got to be the most famous lacrosse player to ever come out of Jacksonville. I don't think there's much argument about that. Although he won't like that unforced error, that turnover. Saw too many of those from North Carolina, but now they give it right back. Dangerous situation, but Chris can't go up the elevator enough to pull it down. Otherwise, he would have had a step down.
Their first failed clear. Again, that's the turnover we've been mentioning. Like, that was a perfect pass to English in the middle of the field. He just took his eyes off of it. He's fortunate that Kavanaugh didn't make him pay with a goal there.
Faison. Back to Chris. The shorty on him momentarily, and then the slide. Kavanaugh front, scores. Found the cutter, Devin McClain, and he beats Krieg.
Watching the defense, I saw that there was pulls on Faison and Dobson, so I was trying to figure out where was that short stick opportunity for Notre Dame. And it was McClain on the back end. You can see English right there trailing behind him, got lost, and then you see him enter the picture right there. The subtle pick by Taylor. The perfectly timed cut. The perfect touch pass. And the painfully slow goal.
Just dunked it over Krieg. First 2-goal advantage for any team in this game. And it's the #1 team in the country early in this second half. Wambach wins it. Madden can't handle it either, so another unforced error.
Credit the wings for Notre Dame again. Applying pressure to Wambach.
Fans on the far side on the berm. That's not where you want to be if you're an opposing team's player. We have another great crowd here today. Everything going on campus today. You got the blue and gold game, softball game, got a baseball game later today. If you're a Notre Dame fan, if you're a fan of Notre Dame sports, man, this is the day to be on campus. And they're here en masse. Goose and kill. Up to Pat Cavanaugh. Cross to Riley Gray.
Just look at him work that two-man game.
Pass goes awry though. Krieg picks up the loose ball.
He doesn't turn it over very often, but a nice job from North Carolina talking through those picks.
Man,
every pass.
And a waste of time, too. You only have until 60 seconds on that shot clock to get it past midfield. They do, but a nerve-wracking moment. Now for the first time this half, Maddie, a chance to settle in 6v6 offensively for North Carolina. Let's see what Trevor Dubner and company can do. McGovern. Here's Tillman. Matt. He's working on Nick Harris. Tries to swim field. That's a tough angle. Gets it off, but Entman makes the save.
That entire dodging sequence for Matten was too low. At no point did he create enough angle for him to get it by Entman, and he had the ability to be patient. He's a former attackman, matched up with a short stick. Take a split second longer to open up the scoring window, and you just got to sense the entire time he had the ball, he felt like a shot clock on him to get that shot off. And you can hear Coach Petramala there wanting North Carolina to extend out at X to take away Pat Cavanaugh as the outlet man.
Wow, there's a lot on that shot. McLean, hat trick.
That shot was special. We were right down the line here up in the booth when he was shooting it. I thought there was a 0% chance he could get it on cage, let alone in the back of the net with Krieg. And we can see the release and just hear it ping the near side high post. Let's get a good look here. In and out of his stick. Just
perfect placement.
Picture perfect.
The advantage up to 3 goals. Biggest lead of the day for either team. Tyre wins the faceoff. Andrew Tyre going to get some run at the faceoff dot today. Number 3 in blue for North Carolina. Plays an interesting role on this team. Not only is he a faceoff guy, but he plays the wing on faceoffs even when Wambach is taking the draw.
I think they should try him a little bit more at the dot. He's a better athlete than Wambach, and Notre Dame's so good at applying and clamping down from a pressure perspective. Look, this is a make or break offensive possession for North Carolina. They need to move this ball here. They're going to have an opportunity if they do. Move it again.
Instead, Price gets it back to McGovern.
He's got a good matchup now.
Found a cutter, good catch. Couldn't get the shot off though. Welford, good idea on the backside. It was a good pass, but Welford couldn't finish it off. Watch out here, man. Thought we might get a big hit there, but Ramsey keeps it. Now he evades the defender. Kavanaugh over the shoulder. Taylor tries to stay out of the crease. He got hammered. Tolman laid him out. No flag. Unless I see one on the far side, no flag.
I believe that was Taylor ran into Chris Kavanaugh. I think that he ran into his own player.
Let's take another look at it, but man, he got leveled on the other end of the cage. The cage obscured my view, and he doesn't look like he's in a good spot. Now we're going to get the whistle here. Let's take a look at it.
You're going to see he runs into his own player.
No, it was Tolman just laid him out.
But is that, he's at his waist level, right? He's falling to the ground.
It's almost like there's nothing Tolman could do about it. He didn't extend the arms. I don't even think he hit him high, even though Taylor was so low.
I think that's the right call. Unfortunately, Taylor takes the hit, and hopefully he's okay.
It was as much Taylor running into Tolman as
tripping and kind of
Tolman laying him out. So Taylor's going to go to the locker room to get checked out. We'll keep an eye and see if 13 comes back in white for Notre Dame. In the meantime, it's an Irish possession. Nearing the midpoint of this third quarter, they're up 3 goals. Chris Kavanaugh directing traffic. Has the veteran Geppert on him. Pat Kavanaugh on a shorty. Extra pass. Tough angle, but Chris Kavanaugh beats Krieg anyway. That's the #1 team in the country.
Fantastic offense. All starts with Pat Kavanaugh. The importance of hockey assists in college lacrosse becoming ever more important right there. Look, all North Carolina sliding to Pat Kavanaugh. Creates the skip, and then his brother elevator to the near side. 8-4 Fighting Irish.
And they're in, despite, regardless of what happens today. Tyre again at the face-off dot. To your point, Maddie, they need a spark right now in terms of getting possession and making the most out of those possessions. Now down 4 goals, and Tyre might give them the best chance.
The interesting part with the ACC tournament, I love that it's back, right? But there's no AQ.
Brutal.
So a North Carolina that get in doesn't have a chance to make the tournament.
Yeah.
Right, you're almost to a point like, do we want to, like, outside of like, hey, getting a good kind of test run for Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Do you want to play 2 games back to back against top teams to then go in the first round of the tournament? Like it's interesting.
It helps you if you're a team, even if you don't get the AQ, that needs an RPI win. Like, I need another big win to pad my resume, but.
So who is that team in the
Duke,
ACC
Virginia,
this year?
Syracuse, and Notre Dame, none of them need that extra RPI win.
I'm not going to say they're all in, but you like their chances at this point.
They're in a pretty good spot. The Heels with 20 on the shot clock, looking to attack.
Great defense.
Stays on the offensive end, so no over and back, but just 10. Yeah, the tip. 10 to shoot, though. Now it's down to 5. McGovern's going to have to let it go, and he does. That's actually a pretty good shot, but it was wide of the target, and it'll be a shot clock violation. Surprised he got that good of a look.
Again, it's a great look in any other game other than you have to beat Entenmann. Like, he's just that good in the cage.
He is a consensus All-American.
Look, if you think about last year and Notre Dame's run to the championship, like, the play of the tournament was him stuffing Schultz from Virginia, who was up up 2 at the time.
Yeah.
I believe that would have given him a 3-goal lead with a couple minutes left.
Probably what ultimately got him the most outstanding player.
Yeah.
And the Irish were able to cut down the nets. Got the banner hung up just on the far side. You can see it. 2003 National Championship banners. Kavanaugh, the shadow finds. Oh my goodness, Jake Taylor hit the pipe.
But right there is why he is amazing in the 2-man game. North Carolina tries to maintain that possession as he rides one back.
And gets possession back, maybe.
English jumps it. He then keeps it in his left hand, which isn't his strong hand, and throws the pitcher perfect pass to Taylor, who just stepped and sealed to the interior. No other player in the country right now can make that play.
Great to see Taylor back in the game after he was shaken up a bit moments ago. So Taylor has been robbed by a pipe, and Krieg stoned him once right on the doorstep. He'll be undeterred, as are the Irish. Bryce Walker extends Notre Dame's lead.
Just too much fighting Irish right now on the offensive end. Too many extended possessions. And them, more than any other team in the country, plays team offense. Again, it's this... It's the hockey assist. It's Dobson driving down the slide, driving down the wing, creating the slide, getting it to X. They move the ball, and Kavanaugh then finds Walker in the interior. Too many teams, in my opinion. Now, again, I think a lot of it has to do with the 2-man game, right? That leads to a lot of dodge and then make the pass directly leading to the goal. Notre Dame has that ability, but man, they also have the ability to run old school, traditional 2-3-1 offense where they create chaos defensively by forcing slides and then making 2 passes to attack the backside.
And we made such a big deal about how North Carolina was a perfect 12 for 12 clearing the ball in the first half, just 2 for 4 here in the second. And that goal, the direct result of a Pat Kavanaugh ride, and Entenmann swallows that shot up easily.
If you're North Carolina, there's still a lot of time left. I don't think he's trying to speed this game up. The only real chance you have, and what worked in the first half, was to play methodical, slow down lacrosse. You just don't, right now, on your roster, have the horses or the depth that can run with this Notre Dame team.
The only time that Notre Dame... Kavanaugh scores! Yeah, they are really sticking it to North Carolina now. 6 in a row for the Irish.
Again, there's that Dobson down the side to X. And now Kavanaugh is stepping away. Chris Kavanaugh stepping away from where the slide came, right? So North Carolina slides. The second man is now filling the back post, and Kavanaugh aware, Pat Kavanaugh aware enough to throw it with a skip pass to his brother.
Greenspan wins it. And they just so quickly get into the offense. Greenspan will check out. Taylor comes in. Donovan also checking out, meaning Riley Gray will step onto the pitch. Second midfield unit. Angrick and now Busenkill. Busenkill on the shorty. Now the slide comes. Pat Kavanaugh. Angrick. He scored earlier.
Just always sending that pick man to Pat Kavanaugh. Look at that, that's 2 in a row. Notre Dame does that better than any team in the country.
And everyone's eating, including Riley Gray.
It just creates so much chaos because now everyone's trying to figure out, how do we play that pick? Okay, we executed the first one. Oh no, there's another one. And so everyone is focused on Pat Kavanaugh. and it allows the field to open up for the remaining Notre Dame players to get their hands free in very dangerous parts in the field. As Riley Gray right here, I mean, just gets his 8th of the year. But look, when he gets through here, there's no slide now that can engage him quick enough because all the attention that Pat Kavanaugh garners.
Joe Bresci has seen enough, calling a timeout at the 2:43 mark or so, and still perfect clearing the ball. The Irish are taking care of it, and it's preventing North Carolina from putting together any kind of a run at all.
Coach Corrigan up 10-4 still, or 11-4 still.
Working it.
I'm sure he's just telling him good positive thoughts on the sideline there.
Right. Pleasantries. Petromala's shot saved by Antiman.
And you get, I mean, look, Coach Corrigan's been at South Bend for decades.
36 years.
Right?
Yes.
Almost 4 decades. I mean, he is more into it now than he's ever been, right? Like, he has built a machine.
Finally winning that championship didn't slow his drive down. Now it's the drive for 2. Now he's got the hat off. Well, the over-under, we didn't even get through 3 quarters before the hat came off. It's not the cap, so he hasn't thrown it down. He still has the hat in his hands. He understands that the weather is still a little chilly, so he's going to want to keep that hat handy. Yeah, he's up 7 goals. Kavanaugh. Now the double comes. Beautifully timed check that time by Geppert. Can Carolina get something quick? Matt gets in the middle of the field. Price coming in. Carolina will slow it. It has been a long scoring drought, as you can see. Ticking close to 20 minutes since Carolina scored their last goal in the second quarter.
And somewhat surprising, given some of the quality shots they were getting. I mean, the last possession of the first half, Petromala had a couple good opportunities to score. Notre Dame's just locked it down, not giving him possession.
Still 30 seconds to shoot for Matt. Donovan comes to check him. Here's Egan. Rolls back to his left. Looking on that shorty, but doesn't get a good opportunity. Petro on the near side. Comes off a pick. Now on the run, tries to get it back to Wilford. And they give it right back to the Irish. Napolitano gets it to Kavanaugh. Surveys the field looking for a trailer. Here comes Walker. Far side to Chris Kavanaugh. Pings it off the pipe just as the horn sounds to end the third quarter. He can't believe that didn't go in. He had a good look. The toque is back on Corrigan's head. And his Irish lead by 7 as we head to the 4th. Here at Arlotta today as we head to the 4th quarter. Big run by Notre Dame in that third. Push this out to a 7-goal advantage. Colin Hagstrom's done very well today. Both he and Andrew Greenspan have shared the face-off duties for Notre Dame. Greenspan has taken 3. You can see what Hagstrom has done in his 13. He's won more than 50% of them. That's all you could ask for your number 2 face-off guy filling in for Will Lynch, who's out hurt.
And assuming Will Lynch's injury isn't anything serious, like, this is a positive development for Notre Dame, right? They're going to look at this and say, look, we have now a second face-off person that can compete at a high level, and the ability to be able to change things up. The more the season progresses, it's unbelievably advantageous, right? Last year, Will Lynch for Notre Dame against Virginia, who went Petey LaSalle the entire season, got dominated the first 2 games. Semifinal, flips the script.
Right.
And Virginia didn't have an option to send anybody else out there. So for Notre Dame to have 2 people at the face-off X that can compete and change things up, they just don't have a weakness, and they don't lack depth anywhere.
And they're going against Wambach and Tyre, who as a tandem are as good as any 2 in the entire country for North Carolina. Couple of collisions out there. Just good hard lacrosse. Madden's going to take a shot. He's in the crease. Good tough dodge for 7 in blue. Just couldn't get the shot off before he got into the crease. You could see the frustration. Carolina team was in this thing, putting Notre Dame to the sword, if you will. 5-4, the halftime score of the Irish with that scant 1-goal advantage. And it has been all Notre Dame in the second half.
And that 5-4 wasn't fluky. It was like, you know what, they were competing, if not outplaying, right? And then Notre Dame makes some adjustments, picks up the pressure in the middle of the field, causes a couple turnovers in the clears. Next thing you know, you're down 7 goals.
Yeah.
You know, and they can turn it on you and never take their foot off the gas.
And it's a North Carolina team without Owen Duffy today, their #1 offensive option, leading goal scorer at 32 coming into the day. Suffering a lower body injury as Dobson lets it rip. Uncertain of Duffy's status for next weekend's game against Duke. And the ACC tournament, if North Carolina were to beat Duke and qualify. Notre Dame, meanwhile, they'll finish at Virginia next week. Clark and I will be in Charlottesville. Looking forward to that one. Virginia, of course, Syracuse coming up at 2 o'clock today. Nice pass. Dobson takes that extra step to the middle of the field. Now inside. Ooh, the little bouncer shot from McLean showing you the Canadian slickness in the middle.
Look at it. There's 1 second left on the shot clock, right? Pat Cavanaugh just won the race to the end line for no reason other than he just doesn't stop. And he's relentless in everything that he does.
I thought Dobson had a good opportunity to take a couple of them, but maybe almost too patient in the offense in that instance.
Look, when you're as patient as Notre Dame, that is offensively, that may happen every once in a while. They don't typically turn down shots and take worse ones. Right there, maybe an example of it, but it's just who they are. It's in their DNA to be patient offensively and just make the defense work, because you know you can't keep up with them because it never turns off.
McGovern shoots, scores. Well, he's got that bouncer shot down pat today. Second time he's beaten Entenmann using the turf. That snaps a 7-0 run by the Irish.
And really the first quality shot they've had in almost a half. Right here, a nice 2-man game. McGovern fills space nicely. Right hand, high to low, bounce shot. Wraps it under the top bar. To say you have to be precise in your shooting when Liam Entenmann's in the cage is an understatement.
Greenspan wins that draw for Notre Dame. Now Busenkill.
Notre Dame subbing Pat Cavanaugh out of the game at this point, giving him a breather, protecting him. Last year pretty banged up on their national championship run.
You see a little Fulton Damon, he's been playing more, and he gets a shot. That time Krieg stones him on the far side.
What a save by Krieg.
Damon thought he had a slam dunk. In a complimentary way to Colin Krieg.
Speaking of a puppy, I've got one that we picked up a week ago.
Hope that one's not sick.
Shout out to Red.
You've got enough on your hands with the kids. Look at Entenmann coming out to get it. Now he's in trouble though. North Carolina picks it back up. Petrovala. Madden. Question mark, hits the pipe, and foul. Belfort scores. So 2 in a row for the Heels. And that gets the Carolina bench going. Maybe they aren't out of this one just yet.
Now you have plenty of time in lacrosse to mount epic comebacks. And look, credit North Carolina. There's teams when seasons aren't going the way you want them to go, where there's just no energy, right? And they're kind of checked out. Not this Tar Heels team. The bench just went nuts as they got this goal here. And to me, that oftentimes speaks about the coaching staff and the energy they bring and the belief they bring and the positivity that they instill on a daily basis from a practice perspective. As North Carolina pushing again in transition.
Shot was high from Ty English. Ty English is the type of wing on a face-off. He can help you generate offense when he stays in. Couldn't quite get it on target, though, but it stays with the Heels, so possession here.
You can see North Carolina coach Petramala telling Ty English to try the bouncer. It's where they've had success today. Entenmann, it's a big frame. He does have a tendency to go down low, and so if you can catch him on the way down with the riser, you increase your opportunity to beat him.
Matt, well, for now he loses it. Great defense from Donovan. Matt picks it up. Donovan is a pest. McGovern, he's been feeling it lately. Back to his left to Matt. Egan. That's a physical matchup right there. He'll bounce it too high. I don't even know. Entenmann wasn't even sure of that one.
So look, Entenmann goes low, but his arms are so long that he actually keeps his stick up and is able to save the top portion of the cage, even though his body may be on the ground.
Fresh 60 to shoot. Matt inside. Still keeps possession. Ramsey all over him. 24 Ramsey, one of the top short stick middies in the country. Matt gets it to Petramala. Gets to his left, but a hard shot. That hit the far pipe. Got a lot on that, considering the defender was all over him. Donovan shaken up a little bit as he hobbles off. 81 in white. Timeout on the field. The Irish want to talk things over. Still up by 5, though, here at Arlotta.
This isn't universal, but I think most people think the ACC is probably the best conference year in and year out. They tend to backload those games, so those losing streaks are typically happening when you're playing, you know, 4 of the top 10 teams in the country year in and year out. And look, they've had good recruiting classes. Some of the players maybe haven't panned out like they hoped. They've got a generational type player, Owen Duffy, assuming his health is good. So they have the opportunity to right the ship.
Sixth game of the year so far this season for Entenmann with at least 11 saves. So he is just steady, solid as a rock. And Carolina will have yet another year without an NCAA tournament appearance. And especially with Syracuse's resurgence this season, you kind of look at the ACC and it's the 4 teams at the top, all ranked in the top 6 in the country in the latest Inside Lacrosse media poll, and then North Carolina.
Next year will be a reset to some degree, right? Like you're losing almost 60% of Duke's roster. Notre Dame will lose probably its all-time great player in Pat Cavanaugh, along with some other key pieces. Virginia losing Cormier, Schellenberger, yes. Cole Kastner.
It's like a new era in the ACC though, in many respects next season.
Teams are still loaded, but it's going to be kind of more wide open.
Dobson. Every game is just a matter of time before he lights the wicket.
He's had a hat trick the last 3 games against North Carolina, and here's the differentiator for what he can do on the run as a shooter. 90% of college minis sweeping to the middle or pulling that low, high to low, down to the far post. When you keep it on the top shelf, you just have to have a different level of speed. And no one in the country shoots the ball as hard as he does on the run, going to his strong hand. Just an absolute bomb.
Already has a job on Wall Street as a bond trader for Barclays. He's going to test the waters of the PLL for sure, though.
Hopefully he's on Gavin Petraka's desk. The former North Carolina attackman.
Of course, you would know that. Irish extend their advantage to 6 goals. And the positives for Notre Dame continue in the fact that their midfield is so deep and so many guys are getting run, including Angrick, who has a goal earlier in the day, took that shot. Kavanaugh. That's Bruce and Kill. That's the tall Riley Gray. Feed inside. Look at that. Found his brother. Now Krieg couldn't find it initially, but was able to pounce on it.
And that's what I love about Krieg's game, right? Is his explosiveness side to side.
GB for Pat. Now it's unsettled.
And that ability in the cage is what translates, in my opinion, to the pro level.
Okay.
Because they're so good at passing the ball and shifting the sides of the field. It's what's your ability to go from one side of the field to the other and react like that. And Krieg has shown that throughout his career that he has that type of ability.
Now a captain for this Carolina team. One of 5 captains for Joe Bresci. Great. He attacked the shorty. Now the help on the backside comes. Gets rid of it to Angrick. Pat Kavanaugh. Still a lot of time to shoot with a 6-goal advantage. Kavanaugh. They get a flag here against North Carolina as they gobble up the GB. We'll see this deadly man-up Notre Dame unit. They already scored a goal in their only opportunity earlier on in the day. Been a very cleanly played game. This is only the 2nd flag I think we've had all day long. Both calls going against Carolina, both resulting in man-up opportunities for the Irish. As we said earlier, they come into this game at 72%. That's I don't know if I honestly don't know if I've ever seen a man-up unit as lethal as this one. I mean, it's almost
70% is absurd.
3 out of every 4 times they're man up, they can score.
Yeah, I mean, that's the NCAA record for sure. If they end the year close to where they're at. I mean, they just have everything, right? Like,
and Richard Delley's a big piece of it too. 0 right there. He'll camp out, goal line extended, and just look for a tiny little sliver of space, and somebody's going to find him.
Look, you have the feeder up top in Pat Kavanaugh, a great wing shooter in Chris Kavanaugh. McLean can shoot it from the low wings. Dobson's your stretch.
And there you go. 5-0 in white. Makes it 2 for 2 man up on the day for Notre Dame. And that 72% on the year goes higher.
And look, where that becomes even more relevant is in the NCAA tournament. Based on how Pat Kavanaugh plays, he's reckless. He's going to draw a lot of fouls in May. He just is. And when you can say, hey, we're going to score north of 70% of the time.
Tyler Buckner getting some playing time as a defensive midi, number 12 in white, former quarterback. Deciding to now just focus on lacrosse. Transfer from Alabama. Quarterback in Alabama to winning a natty potentially as a member of this Notre Dame lacrosse team. There's another flag. That's going to come against Notre Dame. So with a 7-goal advantage, Coach Corrigan using this opportunity to test his bench. Egan fires wide.
And we'll get to take a look at North Carolina's man up here, but just thinking about Notre Dame's man up, right? It's a preposterously high number. If you're scouting them defensively, I think you have to shut off Pat Capper. Just take him out of it, right? Like, he's the quarterback of that offense. Again, now you create more space for your outside shooters, which they have a lot of. But teams have got to try something different than what they've been doing kind of in your conventional man-down defenses.
Now a chance to see Carolina man up, which their man up isn't so bad. At 45%, it pales in comparison to Notre Dame, but that's still top 20 in the country.
77, Dom Petramala, their best outside shooter. You can see him camped out.
We've gotten some great commentary from the North Carolina coaching staff today. Petramala quickly to GLE. Now he gets it back. Price. McGovern. No angle, though. Egan. He'll shoot it way too high. Watch out.
The
10 seconds left on the penalty. Sorry,
and you can just notice the flow, the difference, right, for North Carolina here. Offensively speaking, at one point there, they had almost 3 people below goal line extended. You're making the life for the defense on a man-down situation way too easy when they do, because you don't have to guard them, right? You know, versus Notre Dame, they're changing sets. You just get a shot clock violation on a man up, really, where you didn't create a high-quality scoring opportunity. And you could hear the coaching staff for North Carolina maybe a little frustrated in terms of the lack of execution of the designed play that they set up, and they were just kind of free-flowing through their offensive set.
Right. Fisher Finley, 6 and white, getting some playing time. Fulton Bayman out there as well, too. Now Walker will check in. Jalen Seymour, so this is that third midfield unit. That's a pretty good third midfield unit. For any team in the country would love to have that as one of their top 2. Seymour. Get it behind to Richard Deli. So it looks like the day for the Kavanaugh brothers has come to an end. Finley takes the shot. Krieg gobbles it up. Final 2 minutes here from South Bend. The unanimous #1 team in the country. Looks like they are going to remain that way. Looking forward to their trip to Charlottesville next weekend. McGovern. Madden gets it to Tillman. Tillman shoots lefty wide. Virginia and Syracuse coming up at 2 o'clock on ESPNU. They're going to retire Paul Gates, number 19, in the rafters at Syracuse. Maryland and Hopkins coming up after that Virginia game on ESPNU. Entenmann makes a 6 save. He was running to check out of the game moments ago, and then he loses it as he got stripped by Petramala, but gets it back. He stayed in to make one of his best saves of the day, maybe his best save of the entire day. Said, "Coach, don't pull me out yet, Coach. I got one more great save in me." Now he's coming to the sideline. The Irish score, and it's Richard Deli putting it in the back of the net. Now his second 6v6 goal on the year to go along with 6 man-up goals for Richard Deli. And the Irish have outscored North Carolina 9-2 here in the second half.
What North Carolina did so well in the first half, controlled the tempo, cleared the ball well. Different story in the second half. And it's hard to continue to play your best brand of lacrosse for an entire 4 quarters, right? This is the pressure that this Notre Dame puts on you all over the field. on the offensive end, in the middle of the field, on the defensive end, in the cage.
Yeah.
It's just one ginormous obstacle to overcome after another obstacle that I think they present more so than any other team right now in college lacrosse.
Tyler Buckner picking up his first career points, assisting on Richard Daly's goal. Mick Lee in net now for Notre Dame, getting some time. Definitely sounds like the rhythm guitarist for an 80s heavy metal band. Mick Lee. Maybe it's because I'm combining Tommy Lee and Mick Mars.
I think that's probably where you went.
That's my thinking on that. Yeah, I'm sure you were in agreement on that. Final seconds ticking down here at Arlotta. And the fans show their appreciation on this chilly but sun-splashed afternoon.